adjourn. Senator Lindgren.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, I rise to speak about National Police Remembrance Day, which is held on the 29th of September every year. Police Remembrance Day is a day in which police services throughout Australia Pacific region commemorate fallen officers during Remembrance Day services. It is a significant day for police throughout Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Samoa and the Solomon Islands. The 29th of September is significant because it falls on the feast of St Michael and All Angels. St Michael is considered their patron because St Michael knows what it means to face the threat of evil and imminent danger. Police are one of a few occupations that face danger on a daily basis, and this danger is all the more worse due to the unpredictable nature of some people and situations. National Police Remembrance Day is a time for us to pause and honour those officers whose lives have been cut short whilst performing their duty. It is also an important time to remember the police officers who have lost their lives through illness and other circumstances. On the 26th of August 1803, Constable Joseph Luca of the Colony of New South Wales was the first police officer recorded in Australian history to have died whilst on duty. He was in fact brutally murdered while patrolling back row East Sydney town, endeavouring to bring justice to a number of burglars. And since then, a further 756 officers have died on duty or as a result of injuries received on duty. Regrettably, Constable Casey Blaine of the Queensland Police Service was the last name to be added to that list after his death in 2013. Criminal activity knows no boundaries, Mr President, with officers being killed in their own driveway, as was the case of the Assistant Commissioner Colin Winchester of the Australian Federal Police. There are many tragic stories of police dying whilst doing their jobs, but in one particular was a tragic first. This tragedy occurred on the 27th of March 1986, when Australia's first female officer was killed in the line of duty as a result of the Russell Street bombing. Not all police officers have died as a result of criminal action, but some have died whilst performing their sworn duty. And the causes of death include perish for want of water in remote locations, drowned crossing flooded waterways, mine cave-ins, industrial accidents, traffic accidents, air crashes, and killed while on peacekeeping operations overseas. Unfortunately, our police officers have died in places from lonely tracks in remote Australia to foreign countries. The various Australian police services have banded together and created a National Police Memorial which is located here in Canberra and is under the stewardship of the Australian Federal Police. I understand the National Police Memorial and the Honour Roll contain the names of 757 police officers who have been killed on duty or have died as a result of their injuries. On the 29th of September, there will be services in many places throughout Australia. In Queensland, there will be services from the Gold Coast to Thursday Island and into places such as Charleville, Roma, Cloncurry and Mount Isa. And some will be simple due to the location and numbers, and others will be much larger, but all will have the same sentiment. Police camaraderie is strong even when one leaves the service. An example of this camaraderie was just shown recently when the annual wall-to-wall ride occurred. This is a national annual event that occurs in September. It is an event where officers and friends from all states gather and depart from respective service memorials and ride motorcycles to Canberra to gather together to pay their respects to fallen officers. It happens just prior to Remembrance Day, and in this year there were some 1,600 bikes involved. It is not a day only for police and their families, it is a day for all of us, and anybody is welcome to attend those services. Along with those names that are recorded on the National Police Memorial and other state memorials, I wish to acknowledge those names who have not been included. And those are the names of Indigenous men of the various pre-Federation police forces who served as native troopers. I hope one day that their names will be added. I am the wife of a serving police officer, and every time he leaves for work there is a chance that he may not come home. And being a senator does not insulate me from a fate that others have had to endure. I thankfully have not had to answer a late night knock on the door. Police build strong bonds, and I recall the sombre mood when we heard of the shooting of Detective Senior Constable Damien Leading on the 29th of May 2011, who passed away a couple of days later of his injuries. His death hit close to home as my husband had worked with him on the Gold Coast a few years before. Mr President, Mr President, I have the greatest respect for all those who have served in the police service and, in particular, those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice on the thin blue line. There are only a few occupations where they run towards danger as others run away from it. They do a job many of us would be unwilling to do. They see at times the worst of humanity. They put their well-being on the line every day when they start a shift. I take this opportunity to place on the public record, and I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the men and women on the thin blue line for their dedication and service to their country. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lindgren.